Howdy folks, it's the older Paul again. Well, what's going on with me recently? Must be the lockdown boredom, because this is about the third video in a few weeks. But I wanted to just talk about something different as far as tobacco goes, really. And you know, tobacco is not usually the thing I talk about, so it's got to be something pretty special if I do. Well, so you may or may not have noticed I'm smoking a very small pipe. This is a little Blake Mark Polo. It's actually really quite small, very small bowl. And I'm just finishing off a bowl of something pretty special, actually. Pretty special in so much as it's not really available. Well, it's not available over here in England at all. You can only buy it in Ireland, as far as I'm aware, and it is Condor plug. And I'm literally just down to the end of the bowl there. What do I do with my lighter? You might also notice a slight change of scenery. I've had to move the truck up the field because NIMBYs had a chap come around and whinge about the smell of my campfire, which is just burning near next to me. Yeah, so he came around and started whinging. About the smell of wood smoke. I don't understand people like that, but there you go. So I pretty much told him in no uncertain terms where to go, but obviously this is not my land. I'm here with the permission of the owner, so I've got to keep things sweet with him. And he suggested I just move up the field a bit, just so that my smoke is blowing elsewhere. But really crazy. Hashtag first world problems. Anyway, so I'm smoking it in a small bowl for a couple of reasons, this Condor plug. Partly because it's pretty strong, but also because it's bloody expensive. And if somebody could tell me why that is, I'd be very grateful to know, because I can't find any reason why it's so expensive. Now, fortunately, my lady friend went over to Ireland for work sometime last year, and she brought me back some of it. Now, I only asked her to get me one plug because it is expensive, and I didn't know whether or not I'd like it. I hadn't tried it before, and actually I do rather like it. It's rather good. But I'll just show you. I've only got a bit of it left, but the reason it's expensive is because you can only buy it in a 25 gram block, not a 50 gram block. But it costs the same for a 25 gram block as anything else does for a 50 gram block. So, as I say, if anybody can tell me why that is, I'd be really grateful to know. Because I can't imagine that it's the quality of the tobacco. Now, there's a... Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys can see that. It's a sort of fairly nondescript to look at. It's dark, it's strong, it's quite oily. It's a little reminiscent of Revol plug in terms of its oiliness, but that's where the similarity absolutely ends. There's quite a few light flakes in there as well. and it comes in these little tiny green packets. Now, apparently this is basically the same as Condor long cut or Condor ready rubbed, but obviously in block form. Well, I'm not entirely sure I believe that. To me, it tastes really quite different. Always putting my lighter in the last pocket I look. It's good stuff. It's very strong though. Not a breakfast smoke, in my opinion. And apparently it does ghost your pipe, but I don't really smoke this one a lot anyway, so I wouldn't notice. Oh yeah, I'm sipping it with speckled hen as always. It's my favourite go-to. Well, so my thoughts on the Condor plug. It's really good stuff. I really do enjoy it. I wouldn't put it above many of the other plugs that I have. Revol, for example. One thing I've really come to absolutely enjoy, and I really regret last year not buying more of it while I was in Germany, is Salty Dogs. That's really quite an amazing plug. Dan Tobacco in Germany make that stuff, and it is absolutely spectacular. You may remember some years ago, one of my favourites was a Mick McQuaid plug, now discontinued unfortunately, which is really one of those sort of very traditional hard Irish plugs. Yeah, for some reason they stopped making it, which was rather sad because it was great stuff. Now I've still got a few blocks of it left. Actually, I was just smoking some while I was out in the woods today. But Salty Dogs, even better, and fortunately available. So, in terms of this stuff, it doesn't surpass any of those things, but there is something quite unique and quite special about it. I think the dark, oily, strong flavour of the tobacco, it's really quite potent stuff. Maybe because it's so bloody expensive, feels more special than it actually is. Now, I've heard that the stuff you get these days is actually made in Poland. Maybe somebody can educate me on that, I don't know, and educate me perhaps on if it's any different from the older stuff. I've read a number of things to say as much. But what I can say is that I actually really like it. Not something I'd smoke every day, I don't think, but definitely good for a bit of a treat. So if you are able to get some and you've got a fat wad in your wallet, then give it a go, because it's worth it. I have a bit of a love affair with plugs anyway, particularly the Irish type, really hard pressed, ones you can just cut with your pocket knife, as opposed to some of the plugs that you see in Germany and even here in England that people like Gareth and Hogarth make, which although good, they're not as compacted, so they're a bit more bulky, and they come apart a bit more if you try and cut them into flakes, if you're just doing it in your hand as opposed to on a chopping board. And of course, traditionally people would have just carried a lump of tobacco, and they would have carved a bit off as they needed it. You certainly wouldn't be carrying a chopping block around with you. It's quite funny, I see on Instagram and some of the Facebook groups, people with a dedicated tobacco chopping block, which is hilarious. I mean, I guess if I had a man shed or something like that, then I might have one specifically for that purpose, but I kind of tend to just use a tabletop, to be honest. Yeah, well, the palm of my hand. Anyway, just some thoughts on Condor plug. Well, I hope you guys are all keeping well. We've had a couple of days of rain here, which has been wonderful. Now, I've talked in the last couple of videos about how wonderful the weather's been, and it has just been incredibly sunny, beautiful and warm, absolutely wonderful. But that spring rain, there's something about that spring rain, whoa, it's just out of this world. Everything's now much fresher and lush, more vibrant, you know. You can smell that petrichor, that smell of the rain on soil after it's been dry for a while. That's actually caused by a kind of bacteria called actinomycetes. Anyway, been an absolutely beautiful couple of days. We've had the rain. This afternoon it's stopped. I think it's supposed to brighten up a little bit over the next couple of days, couple of showers, but it's just wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful, lovely and fresh. Makes you really glad to be alive. Well, probably enough rambling from me. As always, I hope you guys are all doing well. Thanks very much for the likes and comments on my previous couple of videos. Apologies as always. I'm absolutely shite at getting back to replying to each and every comment people make. Partially because it requires me sitting down to re-watch my videos, which I'm not really keen on doing. But in any case, you guys keep well. Enjoy the lockdown as much as you can. You can hear the horses in the background. Those are semi-wild ponies that this area in the New Forest is famous for. You can probably hear the birdsong more than anything, and that's pretty spectacular, isn't it? So, yeah, that's it for the minute. Got a motorbike trip planned to Ireland, hopefully later on in the year. Coronavirus notwithstanding, we'll have to see how things go there. But pretty much rest assured that as and when I do go, I'll be picking up a few more plugs of that baccy. But until the next time, you folks keep well, and I'll catch you all again soon. Take care, peace, and enjoy yourselves, and stay safe. See you later.